Bienvenue dans le vestiaire avec Nicolas St-Pierre.
La LPHF, c'est un vœu bien avoué. Il y aura expansion. Il y aura expansion dès l'an prochain. Mais est-ce que ce sera 2 ou 4 équipes? Est-ce qu'on est un petit peu trop agressif dans ce projet d'expansion? Karissa Donkin est au vif du sujet de la CBC. On va la rejoindre à l'instant. First of all, Karissa, thanks for accepting our invitation and welcome to the locker room.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I think at this moment, the moment we're talking right now, we all know that there's going to be an expansion. But if you had to bet, would it be, according to you, 2 or 4 teams that we're going to see next year?
Well, I think it'll be 4 teams, and that's not necessarily my prediction, but Amy Shear, who's the executive vice president of business operations in the league, has said a few months ago that if she were a betting woman, she would say 4 teams. So you know what? I trust Amy Shear if she says that's going to be the case, and we know that there's a lot of interest in expansion, so I wouldn't be surprised at all to see 4 teams.
So nobody's going to, cry wolf saying that it's not good for the game, the expansion. It shows that the league is healthy and all that. But for some, it might be a little too early for this expansion. For you, is it a good thing or not that we've been so aggressive in the expansion project?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good thing for women's hockey in the sense that it's the opportunity for more women to play professional hockey. Obviously,
Yeah.
4 more teams, that's 4 more teams full of roster spots for players. We know there are talented players who, don't have a spot in the PWHL right now. And if you don't, you really have to go play in Europe or maybe be a reserve player. And we know that those players don't get the same benefits that the regular sort of full contract players in the PWHL get. So from that perspective, it's definitely a good thing. For fans, is it difficult to see some of your favorite players, get exposed in the expansion process and go play for another team? Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. I don't think anybody's denying it. It's also difficult for players to pick up and move their lives. But from a competitive balance perspective, I mean, I think we all kind of thought Vancouver and Seattle would come into the league this season and kind of blow everybody away. And, that hasn't really been the case. It takes a bit of time to build that chemistry. They also have really difficult travel. So it's, I think the competitive balance issues that people feared haven't really come to fruition.
One thing that we can say, though, if the negative part is actually looking at the product that might be a little bit too diluted, one thing is for sure is the next crop of players for the next draft is going to be probably the deepest in the history of the league, even though it's a very young league. So on that, we can say that the new crop of players will definitely fill the holes that we might have seen in the first expansion, no?
Yeah, 100%. You're totally right. It's a hugely deep draft. I mean, you have a number of players who are going to be starring at the Olympics here soon. Mostly on the American team, you've got defender Caroline Harvey, who projects as a generational defender. You've got Layla Edwards, who's got size. She's got skill. She can play both forward and defense. She's playing forward at Wisconsin right now, and she's a defender on Team USA. We've all seen what she can do. You've got somebody like Tessa Janicki. You've got somebody like Abby Murphy, who, her college coach compared her to Alex Ovechkin. To me, just said there's no one like her in the league right now because she's a pest. She's annoying to play against, and she's also super skilled. So those are just a few of the players who are going to be available in that draft. And I think you're totally right. There's a lot of talent that's going to kind of fill that out. And I think there's no doubt that you have enough talent to fill another 4 teams.
And the best example to give to show and to confirm that the next crop is coming, Rory Gilday to me is exemplify that, because the moment she stepped on the ice, she was already an important and imposing figure for the charge. So it just confirmed to me what we just talked about, no?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think she's a defender that you can build around. I mean, we've seen her play in all different types of situations for the Charge this season, and that has really helped her, I think, secure a spot on the American Olympic team, going into the Olympics that we're going to be seeing here in about a week's time now, which is pretty exciting. But there's also some good players who are going to be coming over from Europe after the Olympics, or at least we hope they'll be coming over from Europe after the Olympics. Players like Petra Nieminen, probably the best European not playing in the PWHL right now. She plays for the Finnish team. She's super skilled. So we can also expect a bit of talent coming from that way too.
the fact that those European players stayed in their country before the Olympics? Is it because exactly they just wanted to concentrate on the Olympics and not be bothered with the PWHL for the moment? Or is there other reason that we don't see those players at this moment?
Yeah, I think it's 100%, just staying there during the Olympic cycle and maybe being close to some of the other players who, play on your national team. But we did also see some European players come over too. So you look at somebody like Michelle Karvinen, she's 35 years old, came over and she plays for the Vancouver Golden Eyes. And I actually spoke with her earlier this week just about how the PWHL has kind of leveled up her game. At her age, she's been playing at a high level for a really long time. And this is, kind of the highest level that she's played at. So she's quite appreciative of what it's done. And she's happy that she's made the move over.
So, Karissa, if we think about 4 new cities in the PWHL, are there any markets that you pinpoint to say those are the places that the PWHL should get its team in?
Yeah, talking to Amy Shear, who I mentioned earlier, with business operations in the league, what we've seen so far is kind of an even number of Canadian and American teams. They're not necessarily 100% married to that in the future. So, does that mean we'll see 3 American teams and 1 Canadian team, or even number again? That I don't know. But you look at markets like Chicago. Chicago is kind of geographically, I would say, a win. They've got 2 takeover tour games in Chicago this year. They're not actually playing at the main arena where the Chicago NHL team plays. They're playing where the AHL team plays. So that could be kind of an experiment to see if maybe that's a better fit, because right now this league, is looking at kind of arenas that might be a little bit smaller than an NHL arena. You look at somewhere like Edmonton geographically, that could be a big fit. We also know there's a huge women's hockey community in Edmonton. And, when we're talking about Canada, I mean, you can't forget about Quebec City. Quebec City's got the arena, right? And been waiting for a tenant to come there for a long time. And Halifax has also shown really well. And the business community is quite invested there. The province is invested there. So, do I know exactly where they're going? I don't. I think they're still kind of sorting that out, but there are a lot of great candidates.
Great candidates for sure, but like marketing-wise and money-wise, I think the league should focus on markets where there's no competition. You just name Halifax and Quebec City. For me, it's a shoo-in because there wouldn't be any NHL team that'd be competing with those guys. So they would be the big show in their market.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a consideration. I think infrastructure is the number one thing. And you look at the success they've had in Vancouver, that is the Golden Eyes Arena. They can have their logo at center ice. You walk around the concourse and you see the players' faces, peeking out at you. You see Sarah Nurse on the different poles in the concourse and above the concessions and all that stuff. Like, that's really cool. And women's hockey hasn't really had that before. So that's a big thing. And I do think, you look at Halifax and you look at Quebec City. You have QMJHL teams, of course, there, but you would be the main professional team in town, and I don't think that you can discount that for sure.
That's something that we're going to look for, the announcement that should come pretty fast. I think those expansion just confirms that the league is growing and the game is growing, which is very positive for everyone and mostly for the athletes. Let's see what happens in the near future. In the meantime, Karissa Donkin from CBC, thank you so much for the time and for the enlightenment you brought on that subject. We'll talk very soon.
Of course, and thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Un retour sportif 100% local dans le vestiaire avec Nicolas St-Pierre.